G'day everyone, welcome back to another edition of Guvs Hero Review videos. Today we are checking out another of the summer seasonal heroes. Specifically we're going to check out the 5-star legendary green heroine, Lana, the Tidepool Defender. Now, Lana is available for summons, as we saw there, from the summer seasonal portal, which rolls around once every year. It appears every year in the month of July for the entirety of that month. Even though it does only appear once a year, as I said, it runs for the full month duration, so it ends up being roughly the same quantity of time that the portal is active for as most of the other portals in the game as well. The summer portal is a little different from some of the other seasonal portals. So you've got the spring and the spring and the Halloween ones. They bridge 2 different months, giving you 2 different heroes in the month you can summon towards. But unfortunately, the summer and winter ones only appear for the same month. So in the case of the summer one, the only hero of the month available at the moment is Crypt, which he's still a pretty good hero, so not too bad an option this time around. Lana herself has been in the game for quite a while now. She was added in the original edition of the summer portal, or the summer event, way back in July 2021. The family was expanded a year later when 2 additional heroes, Guppy and Wade, were added to the portal, and then Variant Hudson was added in July 2023. So nothing in 2024, unfortunately, so it's still the same makeup as it was last year. The portal odds themselves, we can see that there is a 1% chance to draw a legendary seasonal variant hero and a 0.6% chance to draw a non-variant seasonal legendary hero. So there is in this portal a little bit of a weirdity because there is only 1 variant hero, which means that you have a 1% chance to draw Variant Hudson, and the remaining 6 Waterfight family members are split amongst that 0.6% chances in there. So to put that into a little bit of perspective, if you were to do 100 summons in this portal, you would have an 80% probability of gaining any of the event heroes from this portal, but if you were going after the variant, it's a 63.4% probability and a 45.2% probability that you would draw a non-variant hero in those 100 summons. If you're going after specifics, well, as I mentioned, the variants have only 1 option, so it's a 63.4% probability to gain the specific variant hero, but on the non-variant side of things, there is just a 9.5% probability across those 100 summons that you would get a specific non-varianted hero that you're after. Now, with that last number, and well, those last 2 numbers really, they will flip around a little bit here and there if if more variants are added to the portal. So if Lana does get a variant that gets added, we will see that the specific non-variant odds will go up a touch and the specific variant odds will go down by roughly half. It's a little under that, but yeah, that's sort of the rough math. Yeah, cool. All right, let's jump across and we can take a look at Lana's artwork. So here she is. I will be honest, I've never been a massive fan of most of the the summer seasonal portal heroes. I just don't really particularly like their artwork. It doesn't sit with me. I think it's a bit too gimmicky, just for my personal taste. But yeah, this is Lana's artwork. She's meant to be the Tidepool Defender. She's got a water pistol, as pretty much all of the summer portal heroes have. She's kind of got the, I don't know, bit of... I'm going to get in trouble, so I'm not going to say it. I was going to guess which of the styles of cartoon that she sort of looks like. So yeah, anyway, that's Lana. Feel free to pause it if you wish and have a bit more of a look. But yeah, otherwise, thank you to Sim11 and Lord Stanley for passing this artwork along. So yeah, thanks to those people. Let's jump back and we can take a look at the rest of her card in a little more detail anyway. So on her card, we can see that she is a member of the Water Fight family, which means that she is granted a 10% chance to trigger the Soothing Waves effect whenever she casts her special skill. The Soothing Waves effect will heal all allies for 13% health, which is a pretty nice effect at the end of the day. So 2 things to note with this. Number 1, you don't need multiple heroes from the family to be present to trigger this effect. You do only need 1 hero. It's inherent to every Water Fight family member. The second thing to note is that the 13% is dependent on the receiving hero's HP. So it is percentage of everyone's health, so it's the individual rather than based on the caster. So a hero that's got more base HP will get a higher number in the healing that they gain, but the percentage is still going to be the same. We can also see down the bottom there that there is a bonus for having multiple unique family members in the battle. So you can see that there is a stat bonus giving you plus 3, 6, 9, or 12% defense bonus if there are 2, 3, 4, or 5 unique family members in a battle. So this one, as I mentioned, it does have to be unique heroes, so you can't get the defense bonus just for bringing 2 copies of Lana along. It's got to be 2 different heroes, like combining Lana with Delphine, or Hanalei or Hudson as a couple different examples. On the personal side of things, we can see that Lana comes in with 677 attack, 708 defense, and 1388 HP. So there is a little bit of a skew going there from that that attack stat towards the defense stat is where the skew goes. It's not a major one, it's probably a minor skew in the scheme of things, but that's sort of where the stats are lying at the moment. Her power as well is set to 684. This is lower. Some of the more recent ones that have been added into the Waterfight family, so Wade and Guppy, they come in with about 700 power, so a bit elevated compared to her, but also the most recent heroes added to the game. So you've got Topaz comes in with 742, and even Crypt, who's the current hero of the month, comes in with 734, so a little bit behind those newer heroes. So all the power it is a representation of their base stats, so the more power they have, the more stat points they have to distribute amongst the three stats essentially. So yeah, that's essentially what power creep is at the end of the day. So yeah, her charge speed is set to 48, which is average speed, and requires 11 tiles to charge, or 6 ghosted tiles. The speed break does happen at speed 50, so it's only a +2 speed improvement, which can be done using Green's only speed gun. Unfortunately, there is only the Relic Hunter Bargo for Green, which gives you a speed improvement, and that will give you a +6 improvement. Unfortunately for Lana, the 2% charge generation node from her emblem tree is insufficient to get the speed break in its own right, so the only way you can get the speed break on Lana is to equip her with the Relic Hunter Bargo. The double speed break requires +10, so you've got to get all the way up to speed 58, which again, it's just unfortunately not possible because Green only has the +6 option, and even combining it with that 2%, it's just not enough. So for Lana, the speed node is completely irrelevant. There's no value to picking it up at all. In terms of her class itself, she is a member of the Recon class, which grants her the chance to evade direct damage coming in from special skills and provide 20% charge to herself on each successful evasion. So the Recon perk is probably one of my more favorite perks in the game. It gives you an additional separate chance to dodge damage coming from special skills, as well as gaining free charge on top of that. So because of this, I tend to put a +1 on most of my Recon heroes just to activate that chance for the evasion. Unfortunately, Lana is not a hero that I would recommend putting emblems on. We will dive into it a bit more as to why I am coming to this recommendation at the end or throughout this video, but suffice to say, I don't see Lana as being a very good hero. I would not recommend leveling her, let alone putting emblems on her. If you are going to go and put emblems on her, look, she's not really a hero where there's an obvious right answer as to how you would emblem her. You've sort of got 2 paths you can take. You can either go the route, I'll flip over and pull up a Recon class hero. Scroll, there we go, there's some Recons. So for Lana, there's kind of 2 different paths that you can take. I'm just going to use Zuri's grid for demonstration purposes. So you can either go the attack path, and what the attack path will do is it is going to enhance Lana's damage output. So if we were to look at that on the graph or on this grid, we would see that we are going to pick up each of the nodes that's got attack on it, all the way down that route. So again, I am saying not to put emblems on her, but if you are, you've got a choice between either going the attack path to emphasize her damage, which is what this path is. You'll note I didn't bother with the speed node. As we discussed, it has no relevance for Lana. The other option, if we remove that one, is to go the HP route. And the reason for going HP as the priority is because this will emphasize the minions' effectiveness. And even if you are going the HP route, I'd probably still pick up attack as the secondary rather than defense. So what this is, we're talking a HP/attacks route. And what it looks like is this. So we've got a choice here on that first one between 2 defense nodes. So I've gone the side with attack on it. But otherwise, the next one, there's only one HP route, HP and attack. We are going to pick up the HP again, HP and defense, and then finally HP and attack. So Once again, I would suggest not putting emblems on Lana. I don't think it is valuable use of those emblems, but if you are, you can kind of either pick which way you want to go. You can either go an attack route to try and emphasize like improve her damage, or you can go the HP route to make the rubber ducky minions a little bit better. Personally, if someone tied me up and forced me to put emblems on a Lana that I was forced to level as well, I'd go the attack route. Like it just makes a bit more sense. The ducky minion's not of any real value. So what that looks like again for completeness, we are just picking up the attack nodes. So each of the routes that's got attack on it, that's the side we're going. Cool. All right, pause that if you wish. It's a little more squiggly that time around, but anyway, that's all good. Otherwise, let's jump back across and we can take a look at Lana's skill in some detail. So Lana's special skill is titled Pool Party, and at level 10 skill and 48 charge speed, it will deal 210% damage to the target and nearby enemies. It will then summon a rubber duck minion for the caster and nearby allies with 8% HP and 8% attack inherited from Lana's stats. The minion itself will then apply a minus 60 attack debuff for 3 turns to all the enemies that it hits. And then finally down the bottom there, we can see that the caster and nearby allies get plus 28% critical chance buff for the next 3 turns. So a couple of things going on there for us to look at. Let's start with the damage component as we always do. So damage, it's easy to calculate. There's a lot of variability into it, which makes comparison a bit difficult. So for simplicity and to remove some of that variability, I do compare heroes based on their attack power, which is quite simply their attack stat, 677, multiplied by the percentage in their special skill, 210%. And this is ultimately analogous to the damage output at the end of the day anyway, because it feeds into the damage calc. So in the case of Lana, we can see that her attack power comes out at a paltry 1,421 on each of the enemies she hits, which when we speed normalize it for the 11 tiles to charge her skill, it comes out as being just 129 attack power per tile, which is not great, right? It's sitting down there. It's number 12 of the 14 AoE 3 green hitters in the game. If we looked at all of the AoE 3 hitters, we are in the 52nd of the 60 options that are available to you. So really not a good damage dealer. You can see that her low attack stat combined with the low percentage really doesn't give her any benefits, and her speed, it's not really that fast. It's not the slowest on there, but it's also not that fast either. So yeah, it kind of just, it is what it is. Lana's not a good attack damage dealing hero. You know, you can see some of the best ones on there. Crypt, who I've talked about a couple times, he's the hero of the month at the moment. He's there at number 2 spot at 259. The best is Whack at 287, but you've got a lot of other ones in there. You know, you've got Emerald coming in at 219, Variant Dasher at 184, Normal Dasher at 150. Mantis is a bit of an interesting one because it's his second cast, so technically it's 16 tiles, so that's a 139, but it's higher if you go off just 8 tiles. But yeah, there's a lot of green AoE 3 hitters, and Lana is just quite simply not one of the good damage dealers in green. Moving on from the damage, we can have a look at the next part, which is the rubber ducky minion. So she summons a rubber duck minion for the caster and nearby allies with 8% HP and 8% attack inherited from the caster. So a lot of things that I really dislike with this. Number one, first and foremost, I don't like that it's 8%. 8% is the lowest HP in the game for the minions. It comes out for Lana as just being 111 HP. Is what the minion is based on Lana's base stats. That's not a very chunky minion. Considering when you look at an average slash attack in the game, they're coming in at 120 to 150 damage. So the duck minion is not even enough to survive a single hit from a slash attack from a defending hero. And to further emphasize, you can see on this list that I've put up, Lana is the 3rd worst of all of the minion makers in the game. And if you look at all of the summer heroes, you've got Wade, Finley, Lana, Hanalei, and Woo Woo. They make up 5 of the bottom 6 minion makers. This duck minion is just not what it just doesn't work. It's not a usable minion, and it really annoys me that they put it out on so many of these summer heroes and made it a quote unquote feature of their family. So yeah, if we change tact and we look not at it as a minion maker, if we look at Lana as a green pseudo healer, you know, you can see she's the second worst. You know, the only one worse than her is Woo Woo, who's a 3-star hero, and his minion is still 8%, but it's 95 HP rather than Lana's 111. Like, it's just not great. You know, you've got Gearbox in there at 267 for his minions. You've got Venus, who's the best of the green healers. Her minions come in there at the top. You can see it at 224. So it doesn't matter what way you really frame it. Lana's minions just aren't there. They don't really have any presence. And yeah, I think the thing that I keep going back to in my head is that these duck minions can't take a single hit. They just melt. So moving on from that part, the duck's minion itself, it will provide a minus 60 attack debuff for 3 turns when it hits enemies. So couple things with this, it's a kind of a nice effect. I think it would be much improved if it was a stackable debuff, so you could have 2 or 3 or 4 of them going on the same hero at once. Unfortunately, we do have a situation where it is just a single attack debuff, and it's not a very big attack debuff either. Minus 60 comes in at just 9% of Lana's base attack, which is one of the higher numbers, I will point out, because her attack stat is so low. But if you start adding weapons and stuff onto it, we get Lana with a 5-star weapon, it's just a 6.8% debuff of her stats. If you look at a more modern hero, so we've got Topaz with plus 20 stats and a 5-star gun, it is barely, it's not even a 6% debuff. It's 5.9% is what the debuff is. So yeah, that debuff as well, it is heavily linked to the skill level as well. So that minus 60 will only happen at 10 out of 10 skills. So every level that you go down from that, it drops off by 4 attack points. So if you go down to it being a 6 out of 10 skill, i.e. no 5-star book committed, you have only a minus 44 attack debuff, or a 4.3% debuff on the aforementioned Topaz. So yeah, it's such a tiny attack debuff. It is also entirely random, right? There's no targeting that you can do on minions, so you could have a situation where all 3 of the minions strike the same target, which will mean you've only got one hero that's got one single debuff because it overwrites itself, it doesn't stack. So the only upside, and this is me stretching incredibly hard to find an upside to this duck minion, is that because it is an attack debuff, it will replace an attack buff if it happens to exist. So take this to the extreme, you can have an enemy Sapphire who gives off 131% attack debuff when it's at maximum berserk. The ducky minion will flip and reverse it and remove essentially that 131% and replace it with a minus 60 attack debuff. So that's taking it obviously to the massive extremes, but it's just sort of showing that it is a overriding buff. So it'll replace any previously existing attack buffs or attack debuffs. It can actually replace a better attack debuff with this paltry, terrible one. So yeah, that's enough about the minions. I don't like them. You'll hear me say it in just about every one of these review videos that has that duck minion. I don't like them. I find them to be so worthless, and it genuinely annoys me because it seems that the devs have looked at it and gone, oh yeah, that hero's got enough things in their skill. But the duck minion is effectively taking up usable skill slots and just replacing it with something that's borderline worthless. So yeah. Anyway, on Lana, there is one more item, which is down the bottom there, which is the crit buff. So the caster and nearby allies get plus 28% critical chance for 3 turns. So before I dive into crit and give a bit of an explanation of what it is and how it works, the percentage here on Lana is low, right? In fact, every other hero that gives a crit chance buff in the game gives plus 38% for 3 turns. You know, you've got Bunraku, Jewel, I mean, hell, even Sarah, who's a 4-star hero in green, gives off a 38% buff. Lana only gives 28%. So while it doesn't seem like it's a massive reduction, like you're just going, oh, Gov, it's only going 38 down to 28%, wrong. What's actually happening is you are a quarter less likely to proc the crit chance because of that drop off, right? It's effectively going from roughly 40% down to roughly 30%, right? We're taking a quarter of the chance away. So yeah, that's a bit of an annoyance factor. To briefly explain what crit chance is and how it actually works, Crit chance just affects the likelihood that normal damage being dealt will be critical damage, right? So all heroes start off with a base critical chance of 0%. It's then increased by weapons, emblems, buffs, and the like, right? Crit damage is double the base normal damage. So what is normal damage? Well, normal damage is tiles, slash attacks, and minion strikes, right? Special skills cannot crit. They just simply can't. The exception is Mortis, who's got a wholly different mechanic in his skill. Check out the Mortis review video for more detail about that. But essentially, crit damage will double the base normal damage that is dealt. To get a little bit more nitty-gritty about how this actually works as a mechanic, the crit damage is calculated before, like off the damage before elemental modifiers. So to sort of push this all the way through and glaze over this if you're not really mathematically inclined, but if we take a situation where you've got a base tile which comes out as being 100 damage, a neutral tile will deal 100 damage. So its crit tile will come out as the base 100 plus the extra 100 from the crit damage. So it's effectively coming out as 200 damage. A weak tile, we still have the crit damage as being 100, right? Because it's still based on the normal amount of damage. But then a portion of it will be reduced, right? So we've got, instead of it being 100 damage on a weak tile, it drops by half. So the damage would be 50 damage. But the crit damage takes our original 100 and adds it to the 50. So it becomes 150 damage, right? So it's effectively a 300% improvement on the base 50 damage that's from the weak tile. A strong tile, on the other hand, strong damage or strong elemental damage doubles it, right? So if we have a green tile on a blue hero, we are going from being 100 normal damage up to 200, and then we add the crit on top. So it goes from 100 up to 200 with the elemental modifier, and then bring our 100 damage of crit on top as well. So it comes out as being 300 damage. Are you confused at this point? Yes, good, excellent. I do plan at some stage to do a crit video to try to explain it in better information, how it all works, but the short of it is that crit tiles are always good, right? They're always going to have an impact and increase the damage output. They have the biggest impact on weak tiles because a weak tile has been reduced and then gets improved by crit. However, a strong tile that crits will give you the highest amount of tile damage in the game, all right? So just a little bit of an explanation about it all. Hopefully you followed along. Otherwise, if you didn't, TLDR, crit, good. It's simple as that. But yeah, as I said, Lana unfortunately has only the 28%. So overall, I think Lana is a pretty big miss for me personally. Her damage output is just too low. There's nothing really in there that is making her warrant being that low. It's not like she's got other parts of her skill that really step it up and take it to a different level. So unfortunately, damage output, not great. The minion, as is the case with all of these summer ducky minions, they just really aren't worth being on the skills. They're not adding really anything to those heroes. And then finally, for Lana, she does have an extra little bit, which is the crit chance. I normally really love crit. I genuinely do. I love having crit on my heroes. But for Lana, I don't see why she's got 28% as opposed to 38%, which we see on literally every other hero. Like, I mean, this is going to take me a second maybe to find it, but I just want to show something, which is the vanilla 4-star hero Sarah. So I hopefully will not scroll past as I'm scrolling really quick. But Sarah is a vanilla hero. She's a 4-star hero as well, right? Her crit, you can see there, comes in at 38%. Her damage comes out, oops, I've got times 2.37. Her damage output is not that far different from what Lana's is, right? Lana's attack power came out as being 1,421. Sarah's comes out as being 1,312. But the difference is that Sarah charges in 10 tiles while Lana charged in 11. So Sarah actually has a better damage output than Lana. We're talking an attack power per tile difference of 131 on Sarah compared to 129 on Lana. So I can't see Lana, who is an event 5-star hero, being better than Sarah, who's a vanilla 4-star hero. I just don't get it. I don't know. For me, it's just a miss for Lana. Like, plain and simple. When you've got a vanilla 4-star hero that is as good, if not better, than the 5-star event hero, then well, you kind of know where you sit. So for Lana's grading, I'm not going to grade her highly. I'm going to give her a D, I'm going to give her a C- for War and Raid attack. She does still have crit, she's got damage, I guess, and she's got the duck minion, so I'm going to give her a C- just because I do favour crit quite a lot. On the War Machines, I'll bump it up to a C+ because she's got crit, I guess, but the minion's not great. Minions do tend to get in the way of War Machine hits if they're not dealing much damage. So yeah, not a great War Machine hero. On the eventing, again, I guess a C+ for her attack. C grade for her eventing. She's not a great event hero. She's AoE definitely. Crit's not great. Crit is okay, but her damage output's just that low that she's not really an event hero. For War and Raid defenses, I'm going to give her a D-. She's not a defensive hero in any way. Yes, she's got slightly skewed stats, but there's nothing in her skill that makes her a defensive hero. If you are going to put her on a defense team, flank is probably the best case scenario for her, but yeah, not a great defensive hero. In the 3 tournament settings, so we've got Bloody Battle. Yes, she creates a minion, but it doesn't really do much, so I'm going to leave her at being a C- for Bloody Battle attack and a D- for Bloody Battle defenses. On the buff booster side of things, again, she creates a buff for herself and nearby allies, but that's about it. So I'm going to leave her at a C- for buff booster attack and a D- for buff booster defense. And then finally, for the charge tournaments, she does get a fair speed improvement. She goes from speed 48 up to 65. So she does get a couple speed break points in that. So I'm going to give her a C+ for charge tournament attack and a D+ for charge tournament defense. So overall for Lana, that comes out as being a C- for her overall attack grade and a D- for her overall defense grade. And that about concludes the content that I have for this review of Lana. As always, this is just my personal thoughts and opinions on these heroes. I do value your feedback, so feel free to jump down into the comments section, leave me a note. I try to read and respond as much as possible. If you did enjoy this video and found it to be good, useful, and helpful, feel free to like it, subscribe to the channel, have a look around. There's probably some better review videos out there than this one of Lana, but yeah, feel free to look around. I'm sure you'll find something of value to you. Otherwise, that's pretty much it, all I got. Thank you once again for tuning in and joining me. I do hope I will see you again soon. But until then, good luck, stay safe, and happy gaming. Cheers. Bye.